I made my living from old thinking, but the future is for the way women think.
The way women think.
That's correct.
Is that not a sop because of all the depravity you've done against young women? And your new sop is that their women's thinking is the future?
No, I've always believed that women would in fact be able to take over. I'm a firm believer and supporter of Time's Up.
Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and were you aware that there was a 15-hour-long interview with one and only Jeffrey Epstein? And did you know that that interview was conducted by Steve Bannon? Most people I talk to are not aware of this. A trailer came out for a movie called The Monster, or The Monsters, back in 2021. And it generated headlines like this out of the Daily Beast. Jeffrey Epstein said with a straight face that he was a firm believer in Time's Up. And, of course, headlines like this: Steve Bannon thought Jeffrey Epstein was a spy. Of course, he was a spy. He gathered blackmail on politicians, celebrities, etc. by getting them to sleep with underage girls. Sometimes he would say that they're 18 and they'd sleep with them, and then they'd have video of it. And, then they're like, oh, that was a 17-year-old girl. You could go to jail if you don't do whatever we tell you to, the deep states, quote unquote. And then many of them were just disgusting pedophiles that had sex with 9-year-olds and knew it. The point is that Epstein was a major part of the blackmail espionage world, the underworld that the governments of the world are involved in. Just disgusting pedophile rings taking missing children and sending them to elites to be utilized for sex. Just horrifying stuff. And of course, the trials made this more well known to people. Of course, after Project Veritas came out, showing that news medias like ABC News covered it up, just like BBC covered it up, just like BBC had previously covered it up, or covered up Jimmy Savile's sex crimes. Again, this is a very obvious part of the intelligence community. It's how they get blackmail. Well, most people I talk to, even documentarians on Jeffrey Epstein, did not know that a 15-hour video existed. We're about to show you a few clips from that 15-hour interview. I found it by going through a bunch of old articles when I was in DuckDuckGo's image search, and I found an article headline about an art dealer that sold art to Epstein, so I was reading that, and then in that article there's a reference to Steve Bannon interviewing Jeffrey Epstein and a link, so I clicked on it, and next thing I know, I'm seeing this trailer for this film that you'd think, I'm in this world all the time. I've been talking about Jeffrey Epstein since 2009, before basically anyone was. I'm in this world all the time, and I've never seen this? I mean, just absolutely crazy. So, of course, I watched this trailer, and my jaw almost hit the floor. 15 hours of interviews between Steve Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein. So, I'm going to show you this trailer, and let me know if you've ever seen this before, because, most people I show this to cannot believe it, including huge Steve Bannon fans and people who've been studying Epstein for quite some time. So check out this trailer.
Next month marks 2 years since the death of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein inside a New York City jail.
We were underage. We were little girls. By the time I was 16, I brought him up to 75 girls.
He was glib, and he lived essentially like he was Gatsby. He was an absolutely terrifying person to encounter.
You own an island, right?
True. Thank you very much.
Two islands, the islands of Dr. Moreau.
Correct.
Jeffrey Epstein was a billionaire New York businessman whose vast wealth brought an arrogance that knew no limits. He acted as if he could have anything he craved.
Reporting the FBI is now looking into how it can interview Britain's Prince Andrew over his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
I made my living from old thinking, but the future is for the way women think.
The way women think.
That's correct.
Is that not a sop because of all the depravity you've done against young women? And your new sop is that their women's thinking is the future?
No, I've always believed that women would in fact be able to take over. I'm a firm believer and supporter of Time's Up.
Federal prosecutors said yesterday video of Epstein's jail cell when he made his first suicide attempt no longer exists.
And Jeffrey Edward Epstein?
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Yes. Epstein got away with his crimes because nearly every element of society allowed him to get away with them.
This morning, we're learning new details of the exact cause of death of former registered sex offender and financier Jeffrey Epstein.
The greatest threat to people put in solitary confinement is they try to kill themselves. Imagine that. You're only in a room for 24 hours, you start to go crazy.
So tell me, my friends, have you seen that before? I mean, you'd think that after all this time, this full interview would be out. I want to see the full 15 hours. Never mind the movie itself. The movie will, I'm sure, be interesting. But is it ever coming out? We now know that Steve Bannon has had to turn himself in for different alleged crimes that I doubt happened. But the point is, it's the whole Russiagate nonsense, the whole January 6th nonsense, all that. And of course, they're going after a lot of people. And of course, as recent articles have shown that came out just in the last day or so, the FBI is hiding Epstein records. And they found out, I believe it was a guy named Techno Fog on Substack, went to get information from the FBI, and he wrote this on Twitter. We asked the FBI for the Jeffrey Epstein interview transcripts. The FBI response: providing the Epstein records would interfere with law enforcement proceedings. Either the FBI is lying or something is up. Remember, Ghislaine Maxwell was, imprisoned for trafficking children, but it's the first trial ever where they don't mention the people she's trafficking children to. You'd think that would be out there. Well, the reality is they have video of celebrities and politicians having sex with children. And as Steve Bannon rightly thought, Jeffrey Epstein was a government agent. He was a spy. So what came out of that 15-hour interview? I can't even imagine. Why is it not out there? Well, one would only assume, one, Steve Bannon is using it as, kind of like a dead man switch or something. Two, he was threatened, his family was threatened and told that they'd be killed if he released it. Three, it was some crazy revelation from Epstein that could come out in the near future that would absolutely shake the world. Four, it's just taking a long time to edit. I don't know, but I am just shocked that this isn't out. And I say we need to urge Steve Bannon to put this out. We need to put the pressure on. Where is this interview? Where is this interview? This could change so much. And Epstein just openly talking and saying what he thinks. What if he just openly admits in the video that he is a government agent? He's certainly asked, but we don't have that footage. There's so little footage out there that this video is almost impossible to find on YouTube. If you type in Jeffrey Epstein Steve Bannon interview, or even you shorten it, Jeffrey Epstein Bannon interview, or you type in trailer for The Monsters or something like that, you can't find it. You can't find it. It doesn't exist. It's totally hidden from YouTube. Though, if you type in on YouTube Epstein Time's Up, and then you search by this year in the options, the search options, you will find it. And the title of the video is called Jeffrey Epstein Interview with Steve Bannon, teaser, 4K. And you can't find that when you type in Jeffrey Epstein Interview Steve Bannon? Yeah, this is being covered up. It's being extremely covered up. But remember, it's not the first person. I mean, Peter Nygaard in Canada is another example. He was literally having sex with underage black girls, getting them pregnant, aborting their babies, and injecting the babies into him to make him stay younger. Basically adrenochrome. Insane, disgusting stuff. And it was covered up for years. I went to the police back in 2008 or 2009 about an ex-girlfriend of mine who, when she was 14, got raped by Peter Nygaard, and no one listened to me. The police called me crazy and told me to get out. And now he's in jail. Jeffrey Epstein, I talked about back in 2009, and people call me crazy because, conspiracy theorists, yeah, there's a guy going around raping all these kids. I'm like, there's already been court proceedings out there, and payoffs, and no one listened. And then, of course, the same thing goes with Jimmy Savile. A lot of people spoke out about Jimmy Savile. Remember, a good friend of Prince Charles, who actually, or now King Charles III, who gave him a lot of advising. And you could find letters in the recent Netflix special where he talked back and forth with him and had him advise the Queen. Great. While the BBC covered it up. And he raped hundreds and hundreds of kids. And, of course, including having sex with dead bodies of children. Just horrible things. This is what the elites do. And we know that Epstein was involved in this. And him and Peter Nygard and Jimmy Savile were all friends with Prince Andrew. So, again, more information out there that everyone should be paying attention to, obviously. And then we know that Bill Clinton was heavily involved with Epstein, all this stuff. And why is the FBI covering up the information? Why aren't they releasing the client list? Why aren't they releasing at least blurred out videos? Why aren't they doing any of this? Why do they know that Hunter Biden had him with underage girls on his laptop where he's shirtless with children, a bunch of little children with their feet on his chest in photos? Why didn't they knew all this stuff. The FBI knew all this stuff and then still went to Facebook and claimed that this was all Russian propaganda after they already knew. In 2020 told Facebook and Twitter that they cannot run the New York Post story on the Hunter Biden laptop. Meanwhile, they're raiding countless Trump supporters, countless people who are gun lovers. They're raiding people across the board. If this isn't a coup, I don't know what is. This is evil. These evil satanic pedophiles, and I say satanic pedophiles because you're having sex with an underage girl and aborting her baby and injecting it into you. And of course, Epstein was obsessed with DNA processing as well and trying to utilize his DNA to clone himself. This is stuff straight out of a crazy horror sci-fi movie, but it's real. It's real. And certainly we should be doing something about it. And, we will continue to ask for this video. I urge people to go on these platforms, tag Steve Bannon, ask for these videos, ask for this 15-hour-long interview. Epstein said to his art dealer that he had a great time and it went super well talking to Steve Bannon, and he was getting ready to do a CBS 60 Minutes interview. And what happened was he died. So, allegedly. He might be on a beach in Israel. Maybe that's his dead man switch. His video with Steve Bannon. I don't know. But something is going on here. I don't know what it is. We need to find out. And if Steve Bannon did this interview and in return advised Epstein, by the way, we know this, advised Epstein for his never produced 60 Minutes interview, maybe Steve Bannon feels as though that he was innocent, like Jeffrey Epstein's brother claimed, and that he was about to get off all the charges because, of course, he took a plea in his earlier court case as a government agent, and he got off because he was a government agent. That's public record. So, again, if that's the case, maybe, just maybe, he was a fall guy for a vast network of child traffickers working for the government to get blackmail on people. All I know is he still did a horrible thing, regardless, still trafficking children, and we need to know the answers. But we don't know the truth yet. All we have is theories, and people go, oh, conspiracy theory. Well, we don't have the information, so of course we're going to sound like a bunch of conspiracy theorists because we can only theorize based on the information we already know. Release the interview. Steve Bannon, release the interview. Anyways, share this around if you find it interesting. I'm sure most of you haven't seen this trailer before. I mean, you look. It used to be you look up in photos of Jeffrey Epstein, and you could hardly find any photos of him. Like, there's only a few official photos of him, and some of them he doesn't even look like a human being. I've seen some images of him that just look scary. He doesn't look real. And all we have is that one interrogation video and basically nothing else. There is so much out there of him. There's so much, there's video footage. There's so much out there. And we're not getting most of the information. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I appreciate everyone watching today. I'll be back with you with much, much more. Check those links below and get prepared for the control collapse of the supply chain and the Great Reset, which is all part of the same agenda, this crazy satanic agenda. At the end of the day, make sure to go to heavensharvest.com, use code WHAM, W-A-M, and get free shipping on most of the products over at heavensharvest.com. That includes non-GMO storable foods. That means heirloom seeds. That means water filtration, water storage, books on gardening resources, survival resources, etc., how to get started. Go over there and do it now, not later, because you are going to be in a world of hurt if you don't get on this now and be prepared. The best way we fight this war on humanity is by being independent, being human, and the best way we win that is not by shooting, it is by being individually prepared as a human being. That means go and get your storable foods. Go and get prepared in these ways. We also have whamsurvival.com for long-term storable foods. Save a bunch of money if you go through us on there. We are retiring that affiliate soon. And of course, rncstore.com, Richardson Nutritional Center, your source for Laetrile online. Made famous by G. Edward Griffin's book, World Without Cancer. Get your apricot seeds, Laetrile, amygdalin, and vitamin B17 there. Also, you can check out that bit.ly link for Tim Picciott, the Liberty Advisor, a certified financial planner who's totally red-pilled, totally awake, and speaking out against the Great Reset and getting his clients prepared for recession, hyperinflation, all of these things. So you can get a free initial consultation, a free portfolio review if you go to that link below. And it's a bit.ly link in the description. I highly urge you guys to get on that now and get involved. Anyway, I appreciate everyone watching. Hit that like button, share on social media. Go and follow us and subscribe on Rumble. First and foremost, we're trying to build up that channel. World Alternative Media on Rumble. And of course, we're on BitChute, Odyssey, and Brighteon as well. And a whole bunch of others. Join us on Telegram, World Alternative Media. Go and check out our Teespring store for merchandise and help support us by going to GoGetFunding.com, Patreon, Subscribestar. We have a PayPal address, we have a Bitcoin address, and we have a Cointree link with multiple different cryptocurrencies that you could donate in if you please, including, Monero, the privacy coin, a good way to get around this technocratic grid. Anyway, appreciate everyone watching. Until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.